Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Waller's Wallet, and thank you for joining in on my May edition of my award booking demonstrations, where I take actual subscriber award booking needs and I show you how I would walk through them or show you different ways to making sure that you are getting really good value for your points and miles. And as always, I'll be answering your questions towards the end of this video, so leave a comment with them and let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. But first, if you are new to this channel is all about credit cards, credit card rewards, and really showing you how to use your points and miles to travel for less. So if that's something that interests you, click that subscribe button and even turn the bell notifications on if you'd like notifications. And now I actually had a few examples as well. So when I asked people to put their award booking needs in there, a few people would put a couple examples that actually award bookings weren't available yet. So if you put something in for June or July of 2020, keep an eye out here in the next couple months when award bookings open up, and make sure you put it in there, and I'll be happy to take a look at those when the time comes. But I do have 3 examples tonight. So like I said, leave your questions in comments and I'll take a look at those. But let's get started into these. First one I have is Matt. Matt is actually looking to go from Washington, D.C. To Bangkok or even to Bali. Now, he would like to do business class if possible, but he's okay with coach. He's looking for 2 people, and he's looking for 1 to 2 weeks in the November to December time frame. And he's got quite a mix of points. He's got 71,000 city thank you points, 155,000 ultimate reward points, 81,000 Marriott points, 56,000 membership reward points, 62,000 Capital One, and even 42,000 Alaska miles, which are probably some of the most valuable miles in the award game. Now, Matt, since I saw that you were open to flying both to Bangkok or Bali, there's actually a way you can make this happen to see both places if you really wanted to. Now, I did find space in availability stuff for 2 weeks at a time for you. Now, I'll share my screen here in a second, but you do have enough points to fly business class one way, but you'd be flying coach home. So it's really kind of a mixed match of what you could do. So really, when I booked out this itinerary for you, I did look at it in coach, but I'll show you ways as well that you can book it in business class if you wanted to. But I felt like you'd be able to get more value you might be able to get more mileage, if you will, because you could see both locations if you really wanted to. So let me share my screen with you, and here we go. All right. So first thing we're actually going to look at United, because am I sharing my screen yet? No, I'm not sharing my screen. Share it. All right, there we go. All right, now let me see if there's any comments. All right, how's it going, everyone? All right, let's take a look at this here. So really what we're going to look at, Matt, is we're starting off with United because you have the most Chase Ultimate Reward points as well. So it's really just kind of a no-brainer to look there, as well as the fact that United does not pass on fuel surcharges. So I looked from DC, I looked from IAD to Bangkok. Now, I'm going to show you, we're actually looking economy just for this here. So as this loads up, let's see what's going on over here. What's going on, Nathan? Hey, Brian, how you guys doing today? I know you're talking, yes, Nathan, I am talking about your 2020 request. So I did see that. Unfortunately, I couldn't book anything with it just because it's not out there yet. So keep an eye out for that. I'll be happy to take a look at that. So as this opens up to Bangkok from DC, when you look for award availability, United is actually pretty good for going to the Southeast Asia because it's 40,000 miles one way in coach. Now, when we're looking at this, it's taking so long tonight. Come on, United. What we always tend to do when we look at award bookings is that we look to use our points and don't necessarily think about using the portals as well. I know I just did a video on the portals where talking about the different variations of them, but you still should look at them because there is still value there. So you can see 40,000 miles here for Saver, and even there's 90,000 for Saver as well. But if we go down, Matt, you're going to notice that there's actually a 75,000 point business class. So you could actually fly, like I said, both of you over in business class. But if you take a look at its mixed cabin, you're actually going to get the longest portion in United Polaris, and you're going to fly 5 hours in coach if you're up for that. That's completely up to you if you'd like to do that. 75,000 miles one way, not a terrible value, and 20 bucks. Like I said, it's 40,000 here. I'm going to do an advanced search. So if you don't know how to use what the Excursionist perk is, or you've never heard of it, the Excursionist perk is essentially either like a free stopover or a free one-way segment sandwiched between your itineraries. So I'm going to show you, we're going to go Bangkok to Bali. Now I did these at a week at a time. I gave you 2 weeks over there, Matt. And then I said what DPS to ID. And come back on the 20th. Now I know you'd be traveling on Thanksgiving on one of these days, but you know that's sometimes the way it goes. Sometimes you actually get really good value for your points and more availability on certain holidays. So if you're not opposed to this, there were times spots other places as well. Let's see what's going on over here as this opens up as well too. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you what we're doing here. So I'm going to click. We're going to book this first one out. Now, notice here we're using the Excursionist perk because Bangkok and Bali are in the same region. So you're only going to pay $23 in 0 miles to get from Bangkok over to Bali, which is actually really good because $23 to fly that isn't a terrible value whatsoever. And on the way home, again, it's going to be 40,000 miles in roughly $60. And that's what we're just going to go with for the cheapest option. Now, this means it's going to price out for 160,000 miles in roughly, I think it was like $200 total in taxes and fees, right? 230 in that ballpark. $215, which isn't a bad price. But like I said, we need to compare the cash price to this as well. I'm going to stop sharing my screen real fast so I can log into my Chase account, and I'll show you why you need to compare this. Here we go. Now, Chase has always been finicky with me when I do these award booking demonstrations, so if it doesn't, I have it written down, and I can walk through these as well. All right, let's share this screen again. Oh, it looks like Chase is going to work with me tonight. That's what I like to see. All right, so for an award booking flight here, we're going to go ID over. Now, I don't have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, so we'll have to go ahead and price adjust these whenever we get to it. But I'm going to go round trip to Bali, or to Bangkok, sorry, from the 14th to the 28th for 2 people. We got any other comments over here? No other comments yet now. All right. So, there we go. Now, as this loads up, remember 160,000 ultimate reward points is what we would need to transfer over to United, and we get that free one-way as well. But sometimes when you think about the Excursionist perk, we think that it's this really awesome thing, and it can be really good. But sometimes it might actually cost you more miles trying to chase the Excursionist perk. And you'll see here what I mean in a second. As this loads up. So you can see over on Air China right now, or if you wanted to spend a little bit more and you can fly on over on ANA, it's going to be $666.31, which came out to be, I think it was like, I think for 2 people, it was 81,508 points round trip with your Chase Sapphire Reserve, which Matt has. So 81,000 points for 2 round trip tickets as opposed to 160,000 points is a hell of a deal. Like, we're basically cutting it in half. And he can still see Bali if he wants to, because we're going to go from Bangkok here to Bali. Now, I just chose some dates here. We're going to go basically for 6 days to make sure he gets some time over there, but get back in just enough time so he can get back home. Now, this would mean here, this is roughly 23,000 points each way per person. So for roughly 127,000 points, he can still get both destinations that he wants, and he's going to earn miles as well. He's not going to pay anything in taxes and fees for this flight, and it saves overall mileage. So while the Excursionist perk is great, and I wanted to walk through that for people to show people how to use the Excursionist perk, it's not going to be the best deal for you here. You know, you can fly business class one way, fly a coach home, or you can see all of that and keep all your miles for a future trip for 127,000 miles. And that's probably how I would look to book this, just because it gives me more options later down the line. But that's how I would do this here. So you do have a few options. Like I said, you can burn them all on the business class, mixed cabin over, and then fly coach home. That is an option for you, Matt. But that's how I would book that, man. All right. Next, we're going to look at Maine. Maine was looking for 3 business class seats from London to JFK on June 14th, and he wanted a nonstop flight and has unlimited points. Give me some of those points. Now, I've said this before in other award booking demonstrations. Anytime you're leaving from the UK, it doesn't matter if you're flying coach, premium economy, business, or first class, the taxes are absolutely ridiculously high. The only way really to get around that is to leave the UK and reposition to another city. But Maine wants to fly home from London, so we're going to make that happen for him. Now, on June 14th, unfortunately, I couldn't see anything that was nonstop, but there is actually a really decent option in here. And I'm going to share my screen again, and we'll take a look at this. So what we're actually going to look at Aeroplan. Now, I'm a big fan of Aeroplan. I think I've told people that before. I think it has a lot of great uses for domestically and internationally. They don't pass on necessarily all the fuel surcharges for everyone. So we're going to look from London, Heathrow, over to JFK, over on, I'll give me a calendar. All right, what was it, June 14th? June 14th for 3 passengers in business class. Now, as that loads up, let's see if there's any other questions here. What's up, Charles? How's it going, man? Can I do a video showing how to use Virgin Atlantic for ANA and Delta One? Javier, I actually think I did that in a previous video. I can walk through that as well, just in a different video, and we can go through that as well. Let's go ahead and hop back over there to Aeroplan real fast. So here we can see for 3 people, Swiss Airlines, which is a great airline, you're going to fly completely in business class on a great airline for 165,000 miles, which is from membership reward points you can transfer from. Now, currently it's targeted, but there is up to it's like 10 or 20% if you're targeted for it when you transfer membership reward points over to Aeroplan. I unfortunately was not targeted. I wish I was. But even on the low end, if you weren't targeted whatsoever, it's 165,000 miles and roughly $840 in taxes for 3 people flying business class home from London. But if you were happen to be targeted for that 20% increase, then it's only 138,000 membership reward points. Now you do have a connection, I think, what is it, in Geneva? And Geneva. So, it's not ideal. I know you wanted a nonstop on June 14th, but this is really the option you have here. Now, if you are a little bit flexible, and I always like to tell people, be flexible because that's the bet. That's how you definitely win the award game here. We're going to hop on over to Virgin Atlantic. Now, Virgin Atlantic, if you don't know much about Virgin Atlantic, they are probably I would think one of the more underrated miles for people. And if you don't know much about them, you should definitely learn them. You can fly Delta One for 50,000 miles one way over to Europe, ANA, business class and first class for some really good miles over to Asia. So as you can see, this is coming home on the 14th. There's not business class here, and you didn't want premium economy. Now you can see it's 52,000 for all passengers and roughly $1,300 US. But like I said, if you are flexible, we're going to go ahead and change this over to the 15th, which is on a Saturday. As it loads up, we're going to change this to upper class. Now it's 47,500 Virgin Atlantic miles and still about $1,300 cash. Now that is a lot of cash. I realize that, but like I said, you're going to pay that regardless. Now, the reason why it's important, I think, to look at that is because right now, both American Express and Citi are offering a 30% transfer bonus to Virgin Atlantic. So that pretty much makes it, what did I write down here? It'd be about 110,000 points to transfer over to Virgin Atlantic to fly home and about $1,300. Now, if you saw the prices before I had it up on the screen, those tickets are not cheap for a one-way. Here, we'll share it again. So while $1,300 sounds really expensive, and it is expensive, when you look at it from a cost perspective, it's over $20,000 US for that flight. So yeah, you're paying a lot in taxes and fees, but you're still getting a pretty solid deal on those. Now, those are the best options I see here at the moment. And I know you wanted a nonstop flight, Maine, but unfortunately, that's going to end up bringing you home on the 15th on Virgin Atlantic, which would be a pretty solid option for you. I'm going to share my screen. Let's take a look to see if there's any questions real fast. Quite a few in here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at those here in a second. Now, lastly, we have Demetrius, and Demetrius is looking for, I would say more, it's one of the more complicated ones. He has 4 people he's looking to book for. 3 people have to leave on a specific day. He will meet up with his family a week later. His wife needs to leave early on August 17th, and the rest of the family is coming home on September 3rd. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, and he is looking for a nonstop flight from to get over to Athens, either from Newark or Philly. Now, the only 2 options that are available for that for nonstop is American Airlines out of Philly or Emirates out of Newark. So we have very limited options to begin with, but we can make this work if you're flexible on those dates. Now, he has 180,000 membership reward points, 140,000 ultimate reward points, and he just hit the minimum spend, and he should be having 60,000 American airline miles hitting in those accounts very soon. So I know you wanted your wife and kids to fly out on August 1st, but you need to be a little bit flexible here to make this happen. Number one, with the number of points you have, as well as making it happen in general. So I'm going to share my screen again. So this is where we're going to talk about Etihad miles. So let's take a look. So, excuse me. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a look on American Airlines. Now you have only 60,000 coming in, but we're going to take a look at Etihad in a second and why Etihad is a valuable partner for you in general. So looking at 3, we're going to look at a one-way ticket. Now I'm going to select July 30th, and you'll see here in a second why. Now, right now, on the 30th, now you can see on August 1st, it's 65,000 one way per person. Number one, you don't have enough miles for that, which is perfectly fine. And 2, that is only going to be for American Airline miles. Partners are not going to see the 65,000 one. You need saver availability, which, don't get me wrong, this new American Airlines website really sucks. I'm not a fan of this because you can't see it say saver availability. So for 30,000 is saver space, but that is nonstop on American Airline metal, which is very important because Etihad, I'm going to flip over here. Etihad is a non-alliance partner of American Airlines. Now, when we look over the American Airlines chart, depending on where you're flying, how you're flying it, it books usually, it actually books a lot of the times at the old American Airlines pricing. Now, off peak, I'll go down here, is 20,000 miles one way per person, which is a really solid deal. But Etihad, but off peak is October 15th to May 15th. So you're not going to get off peak pricing, and that's okay. It's 30,000 miles, which is the same as American Airlines. Now, Etihad is a transfer partner of membership rewards, which is good. It's good for you in this situation. So, because it's 30,000, you basically are going to book your wife and kids over on 7:30. Now you're going to have to call into Etihad and book this reservation. So write down your flight numbers and the time so you basically can spoon feed it to the representative, and you're going to book them that way. Still going to cost you 90,000 miles, and the taxes and fees are comparable to American Airlines. Excuse me. So right there, we've knocked you down from 180,000 to 90,000 membership reward points remaining. Now you need to leave on 8/8, and right now you're going to be coming in the same way, and you're going to book this over on Etihad on American Airlines. At least it was this morning. Let's see if it opens up. And sure enough, it's still there. 30,000 nonstop flight, basically the same flight your family just took over. You're just flying it about, a couple days later, and then you're there. Okay, great. So we have the whole family there in Athens, nonstop like you wanted. Now, that's 120,000 membership reward points in total. That still leaves you 140,000 ultimate reward points, 60,000 membership reward points, and still your 60,000 American Airline miles. Now, we're going to take a look first at you and the kids coming home on September 3rd back into Philly, because that is the easier part. And unfortunately, I don't think There was space on the third, but let's take a look. If maybe I wrote it down wrong. All right, so you can see there's nothing here for you that Etihad is going to have, and you don't even have enough miles to get one person home. Pick your favorite kid, leave the other one behind, right? No, I'm just kidding. So on the 5th, though, we see 30,000 again for a nonstop flight back over. Now, where it gets interesting is that because you are going to have 60,000 American airline miles, you can book 2 people online through American, call into Etihad, book this flight for the third person, and you're all going to fly home together. Again, nonstop, another 90,000 miles. We've pretty much now, we burnt your American airline miles. You're down to 30,000 membership reward points, and you still haven't touched your ultimate reward points, which is pretty solid here. But now we need to get your wife home because, I mean, I loved Athens, don't get me wrong, but you said you needed to get her home. So we need to be flexible, though, and I didn't see any nonstop options when I was looking for her. But we're going to go to our trusty Flying Blue because Flying Blue had a couple of options to make this really worthwhile. I would say so based on what you can have here. And if you're in my Facebook group, you'll notice I posted a picture earlier today about some illogical pricing from Flying Blue. So now I'm going to pick, what did I pick here? It was, I think I still chose Philly, right? Was it Philly? It's either Philly or Newark I chose here, but we'll search it through. And this was either, now again, I said your wife would need to be a little bit flexible. So on August 15th, or the 21st is when the availability was. Unfortunately, there was really stupid expensive on the 17th, and I can show you that here in a second as well. Now, Flying Blue is a member of pretty much all the big banks: Ultimate Rewards, Membership Rewards, City Thank You Points, and even Capital One. So, number one, it's going to be 72,000 miles to fly into Philly for premium economy or regular economy. A little bit more on the taxes and fees. Not ideal. I completely realize that, but that is one of the options we have here. Let's go back to our search. Their website is a little bit finicky. It has been a little bit buggy recently. Let's see if it actually shows us all of our space here. Let's see what we have over here going on here. Oh, Scott, I'm not sick. I just had something go down the wrong tube. I'm drinking coffee while I'm showing you guys this stuff. All right. So again, it says it's one of the frustrating things with Flying Blue is that there is space showing, but it just doesn't show you necessarily. So you have to kind of play with it. So again, 72,000. This is what I'm talking about. Illogical. 118,000 or 72,000 to get your wife home. Still, well, actually 70,000 to get her home on the 17th. So this is actually an option for you. She does have a couple stops here. Not ideal. I completely realize that. And what you're looking for, I think I had her flying back into Newark though. So we'll do one more search to Newark. I'm just gonna do the 21st. Let me say that. Business class. Yeah, I think and she'd even get to fly potentially business class as well. Here you go. So her flying home back into JFK. She has a one stopover in Amsterdam, and 69,000 miles is going to fly her home in business class. And she does have a layover in Amsterdam. You know, I know it's not ideal, not ideally what you're looking for, but unfortunately, that's kind of the game we play with availability. Now, you can pretty much use up the rest of your membership reward points, and then and then transfer up enough Chase Ultimate Reward points to basically get her to that amount. So that is one option, and that's going to be the same for the 21st as well as the 15th. If you're looking for the 17th, when I looked earlier, it was a lot higher. Now, the other option, if you're looking for nonstop for your wife, one, you don't have enough miles for this, but I can show you. So here you go. It's 80,000 for business on the 17th to get home. So it's a little bit more miles, but it's home on the 17th as you wanted. Still with that connection in Amsterdam. If you wanted to book her in Delta, you can do that, but Delta is just stupid expensive. And like I said, we've already burnt all of your membership reward points, so you don't have any to really burn on this. But if you did, it's still 130,000 one way in coach, which is number one, just stupid expensive. You know, that personally, I think it's okay. I mean, I would be okay with a stopover as a layover to save myself, number one, more than double the miles, and she'd get to fly business class home as well. So, like I said, I know it's not ideally what you're looking for, but you had some very specific needs. We were able to pretty much meet all of those needs for nonstop with moving around some of the dates. But your wife would have, you can give your wife a for her to have a for her to have the layover. Give her business class. That's going to be the best option for you, and it's even the least amount of miles for you. But that's how I would look at that. But you do have a couple of options. So let's see. Let's see what I have for questions. All right. Thank you, Javier, for tuning in the award booking. I appreciate it. Manny, thanks for the demonstration. Thank you, Manny, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Nathan asked, would you recommend me transfer thank you points and membership award points to Virgin while it's got the 30% bonus in anticipation of booking for 2020, or wait to see if another bonus comes up? And Nathan, that is a great question, because these transfer bonuses to Virgin Atlantic come up, I feel like, once or twice a year. And the problem with prospectively transferring your points is that there's been word that they're going to be changing the program. So if you move your points now and you can't book for a couple of months and something happens, then you're kind of screwed. So I personally let my points sit there until I'm ready to book, because we don't know if tomorrow Virgin Atlantic craps on their award chart, stops allowing Delta as a really good partner there, raises their rates. So we don't know what's going to happen. So I would say let them sit there. We're going to end up seeing them probably come back. This is pretty common where they do offer a transfer bonus to Virgin Atlantic. And, we also can see it come to Flying Blue as well and a couple other transfer partners. So Nathan, I would personally let them sit there just because we don't know what's going to happen to them. And I think if you just transfer them, you might be sitting on a lot of nothing if something were to change. Let's see. Hey, Casey, how's it going? All right, Javier says it's better to keep your miles. And I agree, Javier. I think I just said that too. There we go. Casey has thoughts on priority pass changes on American Express. I think with American Express, it's pretty interesting they pulled back this benefit. I think it can come a couple of different ways, right? They did recently just have that membership. They merged with Lounge Buddy, so they could have something in the works with Lounge Buddy. That's a possibility. They pulled back the restaurant portion. Could Chase and the Visa cards and the MasterCards follow suit? If they follow suit, then it's a wash across the board, and we just lose altogether. If the other cards keep that benefit, then it hurts American Express more, and the other ones gain a lot. That makes your Sapphire Reserve better for the priority pass than American Express. I mean, my Aspire just took a hit on that. So a little disappointed in that. I'll make sure to reach out to them come, retention offer time to let them know that. But I think we need to kind of wait and see. I wouldn't be too shocked if we see the other cards follow suit in this. From what I was reading and understanding about it, restaurants aren't reimbursed the full amount from them anyways, so restaurants are taking a hit. And let's be honest here, priority pass is given out by so many cards. I mean, I actually used it, if you were following there, I actually used the restaurant benefit when I was flying back through Philly. Into DC, through DC. So, I used it only because I had that benefit. We saved $120 on our food and drink by using two people's priority pass. Wouldn't have eaten there otherwise. So people take advantage of it. I mean, people are using it as we should be, but restaurants are losing at it. And if that happens, we're going to end up seeing what really happens with these at the tail end of it. But I would be curious to see what happens with American Express and Lounge Buddy. I feel like they have something up their sleeve with that. We'll just have to wait and see. What's up, Fernando? How's it going? So I think that's all the questions I have there. I don't think I missed anything. I think I got it all. All right, so those are my 3 demonstrations for tonight. I'm going to open up June here in the next couple of days. So if you're wanting to put in an award booking demonstration request, it varies on, I ask the similar question, what you're looking for. If you put them all in, I take a look at it. If you don't fill out the form correctly or completely, I don't really chase it around, because I do have a lot of requests that come in, and I'm happy to do this. I enjoy doing this with you every month, and I plan to keep it for you as well. So that's pretty much it. I want to thank you all for tuning in this YouTube live. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Or if you know somebody who might benefit from this video, oh, that's a good question, Key. You know what? My biggest mistake when using points in miles. Oh, that's a good one. I mean, my first award redemption, I booked through a travel portal when I would have gotten better value through transferring points. That was my first one. Sometimes I've burnt a little bit of extra points before, not knowing how to use certain transfer partners. Going over to Europe, I didn't know about it before the Excursionist perk. United had a free stopover, and I didn't know about that, so I ended up paying to take a train when I could have used the Excursionist perk. Or I'm sorry, the free one-way stopover, the free stopover. Sorry, to book and save myself money. So those would be the biggest ones I have. I'm sure I've made others along the way, but those are the ones that come to my mind. I'll have to maybe make a video on that because I think that's pretty interesting because I make more mistakes, I think, than I'm successful in this. Javier, I can't find award booking with demonstration for ANA and the Delta One. Javier, leave a comment after the video because it doesn't show up here in the chat. I'll show you because there was the one, oh, maybe it was booking Delta with Virgin Atlantic. I'll go ahead and I'll make sure I do a demonstration on booking ANA with Virgin Atlantic in the future as well, and maybe I'll do that as an example as well in the next award booking demonstration to show people how to do that, because that is probably one of the best values going over to Asia in general. So leave a comment. I'll put the demonstration I have with Delta and that as well. I did it around. Oh, that wouldn't qualify. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you on that, and I'll make sure I do it in a future video so you can see and others can see how to book that as well. But if you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who might benefit from this video, feel free to share it with them. And if you want to help support the channel, a simple way is to use the links on our website or in the description below. And if you like learning about credit cards, points, miles, cash back, or just flat out traveling for less, consider the subscribe button down below. And until next time, everyone, safe travels and take care.